So today is August 4th, 2016, and this is the tale of the first course in Gandara, Argentina, which I think was 1990 or something like that. I'll put that in the file for 1990. We wind up in a monastery, at least that's what I call it, a monastery in Gandara, Argentina, which is way out there. And it was exciting, his first trip to Argentina and so forth, and I was with my pal Bill Forth. We actually wound up on the same plane together, and we have pictures of us in a car, a taxi, or whatever going to the monastery. But I digress. It turns out that the monastery needed a lot of work. And but I'll tell you the story of the haunted monastery. There was Bill and I decided to move out of the regular dormitory type setting, and the primary reason for that was that in the evening the caretakers of the monastery would be swabbing the floors, the stone floors, with kerosene. And no kidding, with kerosene, just mops of kerosene going down the hallways. And we were like, why are you doing this? And the response was, oh, to keep the rats out. Ooh, oh, okay. Well, I told you what the kind of place we're in. So Bill and I decided that, well, the rats are one thing, but the breathing all night long of the carcinogenic chemicals in the kerosene was probably equally, if not worse, for us. So we explored the monastery, and we found a very large room, probably 100 feet long, 50, 60 feet wide. And it turns out it was the infirmary. And there were lots of beds in there and so forth. And no one knew what this, no one knew about this place. We found it. We discovered it. An enormous room. So Bill and I thought, let's move. Bill's back was out. That's another thing that happened at the haunted monastery. A lot of us were injured in some way or another. And Bill had a very bad back. So we took the initiative and we moved to this room. We called it the Helton. The Helton, because Bill and I were the primary members of the Hellboys at that point. So the Helton, we move into the Helton. And 2 beds and an enormous room, and the other beds are there, some with mattresses, some without. It was just kind of an awful place. And I said to Bill, I'm going to do this exercise called the dynamic cleansing. It's a dynamic cleansing of the space we were occupying. And I was taught this through a variety of classes and so forth that I went to and other interests. And basically you're protecting the space. It's the psychic protection of the space. And I basically wanted it for when I was sleeping. And Bill said, this is a lot of bullshit. I don't care. All right. So I go ahead and I do the dynamic cleansing of the space, which I probably won't explain here, but anyway, I do the dynamic cleansing of the space and protecting where I'm sleeping. And in the morning, Bill wakes up. Tom, did you see that last night? I said, what are you talking about, Bill? He said, this creature was standing over Bill, standing over him. And I said, well, I kind of thought the place was haunted, Bill, but I said, and then Bill was like, get me that dynamic cleansing. I slept through everything. There was nothing happened to me at all. I was completely protected there. So that's the haunted story. And more to follow. There's several other adventures we had at Gandara, Argentina. So that's it for the moment.